Mika and Joe of MSNBC's Morning Joe think it is Donald Trump and not Joe Biden who is mentally unfit.
Is Donald Trump okay? Gene focuses on what we heard from Trump in his Las Vegas campaign rally on Sunday, writing in part, "We in the media have failed."
That's for sure.
By becoming inured to Trump's verbal incontinence. Not just the rapid-fire lies and revenge-seeking threats, but also the frightening glimpses into a mind that is evidently unwell. The White House press corps would be in wolfpack mode if Biden were in the middle of a speech and suddenly veered into gibberish about boats and sharks. There would be front-page stories questioning whether the president at 81 was suffering from dementia.
And this is the example they're using in this case, and it's Donald Trump going into some weird story about boats and sharks. It's kind of funny. I mean, there's probably nothing to do with what he's saying, but take a look here.
He said, nobody ever asked this question, and it must be because of MIT, my relationship to MIT. Very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight, and you're in the boat, and you have this tremendously powerful battery, and the battery's now underwater, and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now really got decimated, and other people too, a lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking? Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted, or do I jump over by the shark?
Is that not one of the great philosophical questions of our time? Would you rather be electrocuted or eaten by sharks?
By the shark and not get electrocuted, because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, you know, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark. So we're going to end that. We're going to end it for boats.
Now here are Joe and Mika, who are going to now explain that story about sharks and electrocution makes him unfit. Just the craziest thing they've ever heard, apparently.
You know, so one of the tells on just how crazy he was looking at the people that had driven hours to be there, put on their Trump hats, and through the whole time they're going like this, looking at each other in the background going, what's exactly going on here? Turning around and whispering, what's he talking about? Well, he's talking about really what he always talks about. I mean,
now here's Mika. I think this is later in the day or a separate show or whatever, but she is reacting to the same clip.
We're going to end it for boats.
Some would call that completely unfit to deal with the challenges as the leader of the free world. Just completely unfit.
I don't know if Joe and Mika at MSNBC are just jealous that all the right-wing networks get all these gaffes from Joe Biden to choose from, and it makes for great television, I guess. If they just are jealous of the ratings or something, so they want to do it on their side. But Donald Trump just saying some kind of weird story, which is actually funny, I think, about the sharks and getting electrocuted and stuff. That's not a gaffe. That doesn't mean you're meant to get unfit. It's just his style of riffing and talking. Like, he just talks to me like that. He always like the beep, boop, beep. Or he'll just randomly start talking about big water. Or he has all these weird sayings. But is that mentally unfit? He's just trying to be funny and entertaining, I think. Is he as sharp as he was in 2016? Maybe a little less, but I still think he's fully with it for sure. For sure, like I think he's probably one of the most charismatic people in the world. I'm from Canada. I mean, I don't even have a dog in this race here, but I still think he's got tons of charisma. He can definitely handle himself. He gives all these speeches. He probably makes way less gaffes than me. Like, if you're going to talk about gaffes, I'd make way more than Trump would. And Trump's, 77, I think, something like that, years old. And then look at this clip here, another one of Mika and Joe. Trump saying something kind of funny. I don't think what he's saying is so crazy. It's just kind of his funny style of speaking. And then Mika and Joe turn it up to 10. Joe actually insults pretty rudely too everyone who votes for Trump. Watch this here.
Nobody explained to me how allowing millions of people from places unknown, from countries unknown, who don't speak languages. We have languages coming into our country. We have nobody that even speaks those languages. They're truly foreign languages. Nobody speaks them. And they're pouring into our country, and they're bringing with them tremendous problems, including medical problems, as you know.
What are we supposed to do with that?
I mean, see,
why do people are actually voting? Is there really one person voting for
Not
that
just
guy?
foreign languages.
How stupid would you have to be?
Foreign.
He can't complete a sentence.
There's lots to pick at there. Mika and Joe are talking over each other there, but the first point on the languages, there are over 5,000 languages spoken between Africa and Asia, and it's well documented at this point that people crossing the southern border in the United States are coming from all over the world. So they're just taking it literally when he says no one speaks his language. He means like a very small amount of people speak those languages. That would be true. There are tons of languages spoken in Africa and Asia, and people come from those countries like Central Asia, Africa, all over the world, Latin America. His comment there that people don't speak these languages doesn't mean nobody speaks them. Obviously, if even one person, that person coming across the border, speaks the language, that rules out nobody speaking it. And you obviously can't talk to yourself. Someone does, but I think they're taking it literally that he's saying not one person in the world speaks that language, but certainly people would be crossing the border who speak a language that not that many people other than them speak. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing. Are they trying to say that that's racist? Because she's going, oh, so foreign, so foreign. That's just manufacturing racism. This is like the reason why Trump, I think, won in 2016, by the way, is they just went way overboard, tarring everything that Trump said is bad. And the other part, insulting all of Trump's voters. How did that work in 2016? I'm going to play that one more time.
People are actually voting. Is there really one person voting for
Not
that
just
guy?
foreign languages.
How stupid would you have to be?
Have they learned nothing from 2016? And also the fact that Trump has been a mainstay in the politics of America for almost a decade now, that if you call everyone who votes for him stupid, it's not going to work, and he's probably going to win. Maybe they actually want that, though. I think Trump winning would be a lot better for MSNBC's ratings. I mean, if Trump doesn't win, MSNBC's days might be numbered, but if Trump does win, Rachel Maddow can just talk about Russian collusion for another 4 years. And then the final point here, and again, Mika and Joe gave me a lot to work with just in that 15-second clip there. Joe, and I'll play it again here, watch Joe say, Trump can't even finish a sentence, even though the clip they chose, Trump finished the sentence fine. They just didn't like what he said about foreign languages. He says that, Joe, the guy can't even finish a sentence for some reason. It has nothing to do with the clip that was just ran, but then about 10 seconds later, Mika just totally runs out of gas and doesn't finish her sentence. So funny.
He can't complete a sentence. He can't complete a thought. He talks about Crooked Joe is the...
That's clear he doesn't. He doesn't even think.
Well, but I think, I really don't know, Willie. Maybe you can give us some insight on it. But
he can't what? You can't have a segment saying that Trump can't complete a sentence, and then you just go into a sentence and, like I said, completely run out of gas, and then just sit there smiling. And then Joe, in this clip here, tries to say that Joe Biden, and by the way, this clip is from 1 day ago. This is yesterday. Joe Biden is all there, and Donald Trump is not.
He was just Joe Biden. And I've said this before,
Kinda
I'll
pissed,
say it again.
actually,
I've talked to the guy for hours at a time. The guy is all there. Years ago, I talked to Donald Trump hours at a time. Not all there. And so here we are. They're pushing down. He's much worse now.
Do people actually believe that, though? Even the people who are MSNBC, diehard fans, do they actually believe that it's Joe Biden who is just way more mentally all there than Donald Trump? And again, I'm from Canada. I don't necessarily have a dog in this fight. I want America to do well. I think it's good for Canada if America is a strong country, obviously, which it is. But, I mean, just personally, I know lots of people in America very passionately don't like Trump and very passionately don't like Biden. I don't really care. I think Biden was kind of funny, but I know lots of people really dislike him. But just looking at it from my point of view anyway, clearly the person who has way bigger gaffes, they're way more obvious, it's Joe Biden. Just look at a few here.
I'm not introducing me, Mark is. So I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed. Third world. The Southern Hemisphere had access to change it, had access. It wasn't confrontational at all. He came up with
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Valen. Happy birthday to you.
So on that last one, by the way, I think we've all done that. Say you're at some party where you don't really know who the person is. You're singing happy birthday, dear, and then you just mumble, ma, ma, ma. We've all done that, I'm sure, but the other ones, and I mean, it's well reported at this point that there are a lot of gaffes from Joe Biden. There's a lot of clips of him kind of standing there and they get focused on, and maybe you could say it's not fair that so many of these get focused on so intensely, but I mean, he is the president and it's an election year. The other side's going to just get, like in terms of the Republicans, they're going to use whatever they can. And I mean, Joe Biden does have a lot of gaffes publicly, so that's going to just be magnified, I think, by the right. So for the people at Morning Joe trying to spin it like Donald Trump's actually the one that's mentally unfit and has all these gaffes and can't finish sentences apparently, I don't think it's going to work. Like, take a look at this clip from 2020 of Donald Trump and Joe Biden debating, and then you think for yourself, who's the person that has gotten a little bit less sharp mentally?
Wall Street, $700 billion more dollars. $700 billion more dollars, because that's his only measure. What happens to the ordinary people out there? What happens to them?
Let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill. We're going to move on.
401ks are through the roof.
We're going to move on.
Stock are through the roof.
All right.
And he doesn't come from Scranton. That's like he lived there for a short period of time before he even knew it.
We're going to move on to the next question.
And the people of Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my
that.
next question,
They
gentlemen.
understand.
So to summarize, I personally think, and I think most people would agree with this, Donald Trump is a lot closer mentally to where he was in 2020 and 2016 than Joe Biden is. And I don't think that Morning Joe trying to do this spin job of saying, oh, Trump's the one that's mentally unfit. I don't think it's going to work, but maybe you disagree with me and that's fine. Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the video, like it, share it if you want, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.